Welcome back to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm glad to have with me again today Brooke Macdonald. He's the president and CEO of Cornerstone Capital, and the company's chief geologist, namely Yvan Crepeau. Both of their bios appear on this show's webpage at the Voice America website. So I would encourage you to go there to read them and get an appreciation for both men's backgrounds. They're very extensive professionals that have been in the mining business for many years and bring with them a wealth of talent to help the shareholders. Well, the shares of Cornerstone Capital, like many in the resource, well, not many, almost all of them in the resource sector, have really been taken down hard. And I would submit to you, my listeners, that provides a great potential opportunity, not because they're low price, because you can buy low price companies without any value, but look for companies that are low price, where the baby gets thrown out with the bathwater, where there's a lot of value and a very low price. In my view, I think that is the case with Cornerstone Capital, and I hope to have that become very clear to you as we talk to Brooke and to Yvonne. There's 190 million shares outstanding, trading at around, 2-3 cents Canadian. It gives it a market cap, as I look at it in U.S. dollars, of only around $3 million. And I think that is, I think it's just ridiculous. That's what I think. So welcome, Brooke, and welcome, Yvonne, both of you to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. It's good to have you with me again.
Thank you, Jay.
Really good to have both of you. Now, Brooke, I know that the copper price, it's just it seems almost every day it's down. I think maybe today it's up, but copper is selling at lower and lower prices. The market is suggesting also that Cornerstone Capital isn't worth very much. As I just noted, about $3 million in U.S. money market cap right now. What are your thoughts about the future of Cornerstone, given the current lack of appetite for the stock and for copper? What are your thoughts about the future for your company?
Well, first of all, Jay, for some of your listeners who don't know who we are, we're a project generator, basically looking for gold and copper projects in Ecuador and Chile. We have been beaten up as of late, and we're trying to focus on the things that are within our control right now, the fundamentals, which we signed a letter of intent with the state mining company, Anami, the very first company ever to do such a thing. The only other strategic association Anami has with another company is with Codelco, the Chilean state company.
Huge company.
And we've been working on this for a year and a half, negotiating. I just sent back another draft of the definitive agreement last week, and so we're getting close to signing the definitive agreement. We've also sent a proposal to over 15 major mining companies active in South America who have generative exploration budgets for early-stage projects, trying to interest them in this opportunity. We've signed a few confidentiality agreements, given the data out to some, and some have agreed to make site visits to Ecuador in the coming months. So we think eventually we'll get one or more partners. The deal with Anami, basically people have to understand Ecuador was off limits to exploration for many years because the mining law could not guarantee you proper title until about the mid-90s. And then companies, they changed the law, brought in more legal certainty to the concession granting process, and companies started coming back in. Currently in Ecuador, you can't apply for ground anywhere in the country by staking, but the state mining company has a priority right to get anything it wants anywhere as long as it's not in a national park or an ecological reserve. And so the idea of this strategic association is that we would identify areas between 5 and 50,000 hectares that we would want to reserve for prospecting, and then we would whittle it down to smaller areas of maybe 5 or 10,000 hectares that we would apply for concessions. And Anami would apply for the concessions because they're not open for anybody to do. And then we would find a company with deeper pockets to fund the exploration, And at the end of the day, Anami would end up with 16% interest in any projects that go forward, and the funding partner with some kind of a majority stake, Cornerstone, somewhere in the middle, depending on what we negotiate. Mm-hmm. So this is a kind of an opportunity. We think only 5% of Ecuador has been systematically explored. It's really the last underexplored country in the Andes, where mineral deposits still outcrop at surface, and we think for a relatively low investment and risk that some of these bigger companies might be able to find world-class deposits at much less cost and with much less time than in more mature geological jurisdictions like Peru and Chile that have been explored for years, raked over, and things are much more expensive. So we're focused on that. The other thing that's happened is that the Ecuadorian government has reduced the overall tax burden from about 37% of the gross revenues of a hypothetical major mining project to about 27%, bringing it in line with the average of a five-country comparator group of Brazil, Peru, Chile, Mexico, and Colombia. And the government rolled out those changes at the PDAC convention in Toronto in March. And so those are the things that we can do that we can control. The other things we're doing is keeping costs as low as possible. We've laid off more people. We have done some work. We have three properties that are that are 100% owned. They're drill ready. So all we really need is to attract some funding partners, and I think the rest will take care of itself. Some of the geologists love the rocks and they love the projects. Many of them were not aware that the Ecuadorian government had reduced the taxes, and so some of them are telling us, well, I need to get this, I need to have my head office sign off on Ecuador as a place that's okay to go and invest in again, and that's where we are right now. But I think that's going to happen. Word is getting out, and I think that that is what we're going to focus on.
Well, it seems to me, I'm not a geologist, but when I look at some of the intercepts, some of the assays that have come back from this copper-gold porphyry deposit, they are absolutely phenomenal. And I can't imagine if the proper legal structure is in place that there wouldn't be some major mining companies very much interested in what's going on there. Now, I believe that you have a joint venture partner that is spending money to progress this project. And you have a 15% carried interest in it as it stands now. How much is your joint venture partner, how much is being spent there? I noticed the other day that you had taken on a second drill rig. So how much are you spending there now? How much is being spent to continue to drill this project?
Yeah, that's right. We had a news release out yesterday, Jay, announcing an update on hole 12, the 12th hole being drilled at Cascabel. And that a second rig has been mobilized to site. SolGold, which is funding 100% of the exploration, and Cornerstone has a 15% interest carried through to completion of a bankable feasibility study. SolGold is an AIM, or London Stock Exchange junior market listed Australian company. The holes here are deep. They go down as far as 1,600 meters. 2.5 times the height of the CN Tower in Toronto, to give you an idea how deep these things are. And I think the holes must be, Yvan can confirm this later, I think each hole is probably costing about $700,000, more or less, to drill. Within the Cascabel is an interesting property. It's 5,000 hectares. It has 4 golden-rich copper porphyry targets on it and 1 epithermal target. All the drilling so far has concentrated on 1 target called Alpala. The 5th hole was a discovery hole March of last year, and returned assays of over 1,300 meters, grading about 0.6% copper and half a gram per ton gold.
Wow.
Or almost a 1% copper equivalent over that, with an included intercept of something like 700 meters at almost 1% copper and 1 gram per ton gold. The ninth hole, the hole 7, was over a kilometer of a half a percent copper equivalent, and hole 9 was better than the discovery hole 5.
Wow.
So Yvan can speak more to this, and Cascabel is something. This is an example of the kind of things we think we can do for shareholders in a place like Ecuador. We acquired the rights to Cascabel in 2011. We bought 100% of the property for $20,000, and then we bought shares of the company that held it, mainly because when you buy concessions, you have to get approvals from the government, and then you got to get all your permits approval. If you buy the shares, everything flows with it, and it's much simpler. But in order to make sure that the company was clean, we did another $60,000 worth of due diligence on the company. So for $80,000, we got what could be, and this is a forward-looking statement, and I see safe harbor, but this could be a world-class deposit someday that a major mining company would be interested in developing. The SolGold's idea right now, I think initially they were talking about eventually drilling off all the targets and finding out what kind of a resource there really is there. And then when the market stayed down so long, I think they realized that people were not believing that would be possible for a small company to raise all that money for all that drilling. So the strategy has changed now, and they've announced that what they're looking for now within the next 12 or so months is an inferred resource with wide space drilling of around 85 million tons of 3% copper equivalent material.
Wow.
And then hopefully that will catch the attention of major mining companies, the corporate development people who might want to take a look and see what Cascabel could become for a major mining company.
All right, that would be very impressive, obviously. And let me ask you, Yvan, we only have a couple of minutes left here. Can you give our listeners a sense of the dimensions of this deposit now so far? I believe you're starting hole number 12 now. So could you give us a sense of what is the sort of the lateral extent as well as the vertical dimensions of this deposit thus far?
Yes, good afternoon, Jay and the listeners. Okay. Dimensions, but they are not well defined yet. Okay, drilling is ongoing. Okay, and it's going to take some time before finding the limits of this the Alpala mineralized zone. But we have at least mineralization that have been found over 300-400 meters long. Okay, by between 50 and 150 meters wide. Okay, the western part. Okay, of what could be a deposit, okay, is deep, is high grade. Okay, we're talking between 500 and 1,500 meters depth. But the good thing about the last news release, the one that has been released yesterday, morning, is that surface work, identified, some mineralization right on surface. Okay, trenching, has been done by SolGold, and could find some mineralized outcrop, that could mean, that this is southwest of the zone that has been drilled so far, just on top, of hole number 12 that is currently being drilled. What that means is that, there could be, some closer to surface or close to surface, copper gold mineralization, going southwest. This, of course, has to be tested, it could take some time, but indication, from hole number 12, that has been released yesterday morning, is that close to surface, drilling has intersected, some copper mineralization. There's no assay results in the trenches. There's no assay results from drill hole number 12, but copper, you can see it, you can estimate it. There's some indication that there could be close to surface mineralization going southwest. This is a very good thing, in the sense that That could change if confirmed. Okay, if there's sufficient intersections, maybe a resource defined, that could mean a different story. Okay, for how the Cascabel project in the Alpala zone, because the deep drilling or the high grade that we had so far, as it was deep. Okay, we had to think about an underground operation that. Probably still the case, in the northwestern part, but the southeast, it looks like if the mineralization comes close to surface, there could be a different story that develops, in this part of the zone.
So, with just less than a minute left, do you see more work going on then to see if you might be able to outline something closer to surface that would require less capital to get started here? Is that the goal now? One of the goals, at least.
One of the goals, because there will be 2 rigs in a few weeks from now. The second rig should be in operation. One of the rigs will be busy at drilling in the northwest part of the deposit. And the second rig should be busy at drilling the area to the southeast. And there will be at the same time some more trenching being done. And hopefully with good results. And then if it is, we may have some resource close to the surface. In this part of the property.
Yeah, well, it is a very exciting story. I know the market doesn't seem to care much for it right now, but as a person that's been around these markets for 30, 40 years, these are some of the best numbers I've seen, and it is really an exciting project. I think if you get comfortable with Ecuadorian risk and so forth. Let me just ask you, Brooke, we do have to close now, but let me just ask you, what should our listeners keep their eyes on in the coming months? What drivers might actually cause people to take some interest in your share price?
I think if we're able to attract a funding partner for the Strategic Exploration Association with ANAMI, that would be one driver. Continuing good results from Cascabel coming out of the second rig. And drilling Arvedas Grande's property down to the west of Cuenca, if we're able to get a partner for that, because Arvedas Grande's we think is a smaller project compared to Cascabel. It's more of an epithermal gold silver system, but the drilling there would be 250 to 300 meters deep, and we think that there's potential there for at least 1 million ounces of gold.
Oh, very interesting. And I noticed also something called the Cana Brava property. You had some surface gold samples that were very high there, too. So you have a lot going on. Huh?
Yeah. Yes, we do.
You have a lot going on besides your flagship property, but again, you don't have to spend money to keep these things going, or very little money, because you are a project generator. You get other people to spend money and develop these projects and with a carried interest. So I think it's very worthwhile. I hope folks will pay some attention. Listeners out there, go out and the website, just tell us the website where people can go to follow what you're doing.
It's cornerstoneresources.com.
cornerstoneresources.com. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Brooke and Yvan, for being with me today. Unfortunately, we're out of time. We'll look to keep up with your story going forward into the future. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Jay.